The last thing about knowing Ricky and Gay, I'm sure there's people here, I know the Angaras are here, who have flown on passes. Gay can get you anywhere free. Have you heard that? Have we all heard that? Okay. There's actually people who have heard that couldn't make the party tonight because about 3 weeks ago they left for Florida and we have no idea where they are. Okay? They're around.
And we drove here 5 hours.
But we all know Rick. Nothing bothers this guy. I said to Rick, how long did it take you to get back from Fort Lauderdale to Newburgh? He said about 3 days and 8 hours. So where'd you go? I said, well, I went to Dallas. He gets up there, they say, no, where are you going? Dallas. He was in Venice one time for 3 days after Gaynor left. Couldn't get a flight. Didn't bother him. Gaynor gave me a flight once. The girls wanted to go. My daughter was, this is the only flight I asked for, I never asked again. My daughter was studying, well, I won't say, she was at 10, no, she wasn't doing that either. I was paying for her to be in school in Madrid, okay? Other than that, there was nothing else going on. So my wife, Jessica, said, I'm going to take her and we're going to go over and visit and find out how she's majoring in flamenco dancing. Which I always thought for a Bronx Irish kid would be a breakthrough. Gaynor says, don't worry about it. This time of year, the flights are empty. I went on the computer, there's nobody out. There's a pilot, a couple of people, nobody else on this big plane. You get on for nothing. I don't really want to get on for nothing. I'd rather buy a ticket, but no, we're going to do it. So, okay. We're flying out of Kennedy. I drive down to Kennedy, glad to get rid of them. All the girls are going to be in Europe. I'll be able to hang out with Rick for a week or two and then go into dialysis, get that all cleaned up. I get to Kennedy, we come in with this Mickey Mouse thing that Gaynor says, we're on standby, we're at 28 behind somebody. And the guy says, on this flight? Are you kidding me? I said, no, it's empty, right? There's like cabin crew and a few Vietnamese refugees and there's nobody on this flight. She checked her computer. There were more people they're on standby, right? This guy's laughing at us like there's no chance you're getting on it. So now my wife's upset. Well, the hotel's there. Barbara's waiting for us in Madrid. I drive to Newark. I get to Newark. I pay $10,000 for my free pass. And I still couldn't get them to Madrid. I got them to Portugal. No offense. You know? That's probably had something to do with your ancestors too. No wonder they had boats. They couldn't handle planes. So I got them as far as Lisbon. And from Lisbon, somehow they got to Madrid like a day and a half after we had the free pass. Thank you, Gay, wherever you are.
She left.
She left. I don't blame her. My last trip with Gay, and then I'll let you go, we went to Venice to take a cruise, and Gaynor was still working. America's oldest stewardess. Now, come on. Come on. Gaynor said she'd still have perfect hearing if they hadn't gone to jets in the 50s. That's the truth. She said the prop planes were never as loud as those jets were. She should have stuck with the prop planes. So she flies us over to Venice on a Delta flight, bumps us up to first class, and then says, well, I got a day and a half, I'm going to be your tour guide, because she had been to Venice 138 times or something. I had never seen anybody that drunk that had to work the next day. One of the Italian guys from Alitalia that was on the plane knew where we should go because that's where the tourists didn't go. And we found this great cafe and about 3 or 4 bottles of wine. But first we had gone to a wine store that Gaynor said we had to go to. And they knew all the Delta crew, and we tasted all the wines. We bought a couple of bottles because we had an hour to go before the restaurant opened. Then we went to the restaurant, which we closed. And she had to be up at like something like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. She was still dressed in her Delta uniform. It's amazing how she does it, but I think it's the altitude. Most of the brain cells have died, right? You know that. Yeah. No, seriously, if you want her to tell you something and be sure it's right, you have to have her in a pressurized cabin. Because other than that, it just starts to fade away, and she starts to talk about Sudoku or something. I don't know. I always thought maybe she was flying for Air Japan or something. Who's Sudoku? I I think that's the guy she sees when she's... Little guy, Sudoku. Sounds interesting. I don't know. You're getting old, pal. You know? They turn you in. But you haven't flown until you've flown with Delta. Oh, Jesus. He's the only one that can do it. He's the only one. Rick doesn't care. He'll be in Florida, have to come to New York, go to Houston first, and he'll meet somebody in the airline terminal, and he stays 2 days in Houston, and he wins on a horse. How the hell does he do that? Last year, my daughter asked me, "Where's Rick?" He's in South Africa. I knew Nelson was sick, but I didn't think he'd fall for Ricky, you know? Ricky said, "Stop the medicine, get him one of these Manhattans, buck him up, put a bet on the next race, and he'll wake up." You should get over there. He's kind of touch and go right now. But it's been an adventure to marry into this family. I wouldn't recommend it. Jim, just keep dating her. Trust me. Dating is one thing. Married into this crew, you're in big trouble. I wanted Ricky to come up here and say a few words. He got the Watson Award at IBM, as we all know. Mr. Watson at IBM said if we had more employees like Rick, we would have closed Kingston a lot longer. Actually, when they did close Kingston, they looked for Ricky's ID card. Nobody knew who he was. So they actually had to go to the handlebar and fire him at the handlebar, right? I think you were there still, right? They came and took his badge. But all in all, anybody that knew him from his days in New Bedford, the one thing that, and we know Ricky likes to bet on a horse occasionally, but who would have bet? What's the longest odds you could have had that Ricky'd be here at 70 and look better than everybody else? Life is not fair.
Thank you, Kevin. Get the hook.
Nice job, Kevin.
I was digging a hole back there for my father a minute ago, but I'm going to try to put Kevin in there after all that. I was like, hold on, Kevin, come on. But it was a great job of Kevin. Dad, you want to say anything to the guests?
Too early.
Too early.
Too much yakking going on. Is Bobby ready to play some more music?
Yes, he is.
Or are we going to wait a little bit? No. I have a singer, though, for you. My next door neighbor, she's great. And I told her she better get up here. Yeah. Anyway, if I haven't thanked everybody yet, I'll thank you right now. And that's all I want to say. I love all of you. And thanks so much for being here.